Am I the a-hole for being upset that husband said it's normal to be tempted to cheat in a long-term relationship? My husband and I have been together for several years now, and I'll be honest, things haven't felt emotionally safe for a long time. I already suspect he's cheated on me, though he continues to deny it. He does admit that his behavior looks suspicious and that most people would probably think he has. But he swears up and down that he hasn't crossed any lines. That's hard for me to believe considering everything. One of the first red flags came when he claimed he had no libido due to medication. I wanted to be supportive and trusting. But then I caught him watching porn, something he outright denied at first, until I confronted him more directly. Then the story changed. He was just testing himself. Testing what, exactly? He never gave me a clear answer. At the same time, he would openly ogle women. It became a pattern. We'd be walking down the street, mid-conversation, and suddenly he'd go quiet. His eyes would lock onto some random woman's butt or body, and I'd catch him. I remember one time vividly. We were walking, talking, and he just froze mid-sentence. I looked over, and he was fully zoned in on a woman's juicy couture sweatpants. He didn't even stop when he noticed I was watching him. When I called him out, he claimed he was criticizing her outfit, and then twisted it into some weird argument about how I had said I wanted to wear juicy couture. I didn't remember saying that at all. I felt so small after that, like I needed to prove I was desirable too. So I went and bought a juicy couture tracksuit, hoping maybe I'd get that same attention. I hated the way it made me feel, like I was competing with strangers for my own husband's attention. I ended up selling the outfit shortly after. There were more incidents like this. He was supposedly struggling to stay hard during sex, again because of the meds, but when I sat on his lap and he got aroused, he still tried to argue he wasn't. I was desperate for the truth. Was it me? Was it the weight I'd gained? Was he just not into me anymore? Then there was the time we were at the mall. We were walking toward the escalator, and, again, he went quiet mid-convo. I followed his gaze. He was staring at a group of women in party dresses. When I pointed it out, told him it was disrespectful, he went on this whole rant about how glancing is fine, ogling is not, how his eyes still work, and that being married doesn't mean he's suddenly blind. Then he escalated it. What about when he's not with me? Can't he look then? Suddenly I was insecure, controlling, and he was threatening divorce. Over a conversation I didn't even start. It kept happening. Another time, he literally said, "Wow," while looking at another group of women. When I followed his line of sight, it was obvious he was focused on their outfits. Again, the excuse came out. He said he was drawing my attention to how inappropriate they looked to prove some point about me wearing crop tops. He even told me that guys wouldn't respect me dressed like that. When I got catcalled once and nervously laughed it off, he berated me in public, accused me of wanting the attention. He twisted it into an act of betrayal. Funny thing is, when I dressed like that, it was the only time he showed consistent sexual interest in me. Once I started covering up again, he became cold, uninterested. When I brought it up, he said it was only natural that he'd be more turned on by revealing clothes. I asked him if he was ever just turned on by me. That question never really got an answer. One time at the airport, same pattern. He goes quiet, stares. I follow his gaze and he's fixated on a woman's butt right in front of us. When I called him out, he lied and said he was looking at her dog. His eyes weren't anywhere near the dog. The worst part? The woman looked very young, thin, petite, possibly a teenager. I felt sick, especially because I had gained weight, and he made that abundantly clear. During fights, he'd say I let myself go, call me fat and ugly, then later backpedal, claiming he only said it to hurt me, not because he meant it.
But of course he did.
Because later, he said he found me less attractive, just not by much. When I pointed out how I had loved him even after he gained weight early in our relationship, he shrugged and said, "Well, I'm not you." I remember another time we were at the mall again, and a woman with a BBL walked by. His eyes locked on her and followed her around the corner. When I confronted him, he denied it, then admitted it, saying he could not look because it was in his face. But then he insulted her, said her body looked clownish, like it made it better somehow. When I tried to express how all of this made me feel, how constant it is, how hurtful, he'd accuse me of being crazy, insecure, or controlling. He told me that he preferred thinner women, that people who like fat girls have a fetish. He mocked plus-sized models I showed him, saying they were disgusting. I hadn't even shown them to ask for his opinion, just to share something I liked. And when I asked him, begged him, really, to just be honest, to tell me if he no longer found me attractive, he said, "What was I supposed to do, leave you the moment you gained weight? I take my vows more seriously than that." As if staying with me was the burden. He once told me he'd never cheat, especially after all I'd sacrificed to be with him, as though my sacrifices are the only thing keeping him faithful. Now, fast forward to yesterday. I was talking to ChatGPT about what's normal in relationships. I asked about noticing other people when you're in a long-term commitment. The answer made sense, that it's normal to briefly notice someone attractive, but not to stare, sexualize, or fantasize often. Not to prefer strangers over your partner. When I read it to my husband, he latched onto one part. Temptation is normal. He then referenced a line from Breaking Bad, where Marie tells Skylar she's been tempted too. He said it's normal to be tempted to cheat in long-term marriages, that a lot of people feel that way, that he hears it all the time on the hotline he volunteers at. This wasn't even the point of the conversation, but somehow, that's where he took it. I was furious, especially since he has accused me of cheating before, completely baselessly. And yet, here he is, casually talking about temptation like it's some inevitable side effect of being with one person too long. I felt sick. All I could think was, would he have already done it if he didn't think I sacrificed so much? So now I'm sitting here, feeling like I'm going insane. I can't tell what's worse, the possibility that he's cheated, or the way he casually talks about how normal it is to want to. He calls me insecure, controlling, emotional. But all I ever asked for was honesty, respect, basic decency. So, am I the a-hole for being deeply upset and disturbed by his words?